Across the Southwest, this is BBC Local Radio.
Now, people sometimes find themselves in a downward spiral, don't they? They find themselves, as you did, out of the army, without a job, then through divorce and what have you, without a home. Then without a home, you haven't got an address, so therefore you become, you know, a statistic and what have you. Is the answer to get people into a recognised sort of system? Is that not the answer?
I think everybody's different, so it really is an individual approach to everybody. But I found that I was getting angry, and I thought, well, I'm not actually an angry person. So I thought, well, the anger is an energy. Change it to something better that you can handle. So I changed it into poetry, and I changed it into pictures. And it might be an angry poem, but it's a poem. It's not a punch on the nose anymore.
Well, I've got an example of one of Billy's poems here, and I'm going to read it to you. It's called From Boy to Man. I quite like this one. In my pistol-packing infancy, I always wore the whitest hat, swashed the sharpest plastic sword, sailed the swiftest galleons, fought the darkest enemies, and rode the wildest stallions. I saved the fairest damsels, and I fought the cleanest fight, slaying dragons with bare hands, at least 3 times a night. Now those days are far away, my hat has turned a murky grey, my stallion's been put to stud, my plastic sword is stained with blood, because the pirates on my concrete sea are not the men I thought they'd be, and damsels, well, I must confess, I tend to leave them in distress. Now, I think that is a remarkable piece of poetry, Billy. During this exhibition that you had last year at Truro Cathedral, that's when your illness started. And just talk us through that, because you were diagnosed, first of all, as having a minor stroke.
I went to the doctors 3 different appointments before I finally got him to understand that I was saying, I keep getting dizzy. He said, keep it up, keep it up. I said, what do you mean, keep it up? He said, keep being busy. I said, no, I keep getting dizzy. He thought I said, I'm keeping busy. So eventually he realised there was something wrong, and he sent me for a scan. And after about 6 months, I got the scan, which took about 5 or 10 minutes, which is a long time to wait for 5 or 10 minutes. And they said, well, we think you've had a minor stroke. I said, well, it might be minor to you, but to me, effects are quite devastating. And it continues to get worse every single day. And then after another 6 months passed, I went to see my doctor and said, this is no stroke. But he wasn't in. I saw a different doctor. And he said, it doesn't look like a stroke to me either. And he sent me, he said, I'm going to send you for a magnetic scan. So he sent me for a magnetic scan, and when I went for the results, he said, you've got a tumour we can't operate on. It didn't show up on the first scan, which was over a year ago when it started, so I had to come to terms with that. But it's a strange thing, because if you get run over in the street and you're taken in the midst of life, you leave this deluge of emotion. But I've given a little bit of time to make that into a ripple. So that's what I'm trying to do in the time I've got left. Just be like a deep green calm pond when I go plop.
Do you know roughly, what is the time scale of the doctor's said?
I've been ill for a long time now, so I'm not looking towards a very long summer.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and your object now, between now and whenever, is to limit the effect it will have your death
on my loved ones, yes.
on the people that you love. And I'm talking the people that you love being mother, father, 3 sisters, 2 brothers, 2 daughters, 2 sons, 2 nieces. These are your immediate family, and your aim now is to minimise.
Well, I've done it.
You've been to see them all, haven't you? And you've told them all.
Yeah.
What sort of reaction did you get?
Terrible. It was the worst 2 weeks of my life. But I had to do it. You cannot not do it. So I did it all, and I saved my sons until I came back. And I saw my sons. And I think that was the hardest part. Well, it was all hard, all of it. But it's now going to be a ripple instead of a huge tidal wave.
Have you resigned yourself, Billy, to the fact that you're dying?
You must resign, accepted with a certain amount of trepidation, just like setting off on another journey with my thumb out. I'll see you later.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you like to be remembered, Billy Wright?
Billy the Poet.
Yeah?
It was an ordinary Monday morning in Falmouth. Shops opening, window cleaners going about their business, people on their way to work. Some didn't notice anything unusual. Others did spot the series of bizarre, brightly coloured statues which had been placed around the town centre overnight. People arriving for work early this morning were not quite sure what to make of the sculptures.
Art from nowhere. All right, so it just appeared this morning, did it?
I think it looks hideous. Whatever it is, I don't like it.
I think it's very good. Yeah, it brightens up here up. I think it's very good.
The artists who've created these sculptures say it's important that art comes out of the gallery and onto the streets. They've not had permission to place their works here in Falmouth town centre. They say art shouldn't need a licence. The reaction of the authorities remains to be seen. The pieces were put into place during the early hours of the morning. The artists say they wanted people to be surprised by the sculptures. Today they were using cameras to record reactions. The photographs will form part of an exhibition later this year.
Some people are just walking straight past, they're not even looking. A lot of people are looking from a distance, they don't know. It's almost as if they're shy of being seen to look, to be interested, so they're sort of spying on them.
People that do not normally have access to arts have been coming into my workshop and helping me to make these statues, which has suddenly appeared overnight in a guerrilla art attack, to let the people of Falmouth know that no matter what, we will continue to put art in their paths and on their streets.
This isn't the first time he's raised a few eyebrows with his work. 2 years ago he was given a grant for his Green Arrows ground level display team. The Falmouth sculptures are all due to be removed at the end of the week.